Hi, thanks for being with me today. Hope you're keeping well. Welcome to you from the suburb of Sydney, Australia, called Winston Hills. I realised I've just wandered onto a cricket pitch, so I hope I'm not trespassing. I'm sure I'll find out very quickly if I am. But welcome to you. And I thought today that we could have a conversation about how to stay consistent in prayer when we are living a hectic life. I mean, pretty much all of us are busy, aren't we? And it can be very, very hard to stay consistent and reliable in prayer in the midst of all the busyness. But it's really important when you and I are busy that we do keep praying, because we need to stay connected, don't we? With God and with ourselves as well. The busier we get, the more we need to pray. I'm always in awe of people like Martin Luther, that great 16th century reformer, who used to say that, you know, he would pray for 2 hours a day unless he was really busy, and then he'd spend 3 hours a day in prayer. But that kind of sense of, you know, the busier we are, the more hectic our lives are, the more we need to stay connected to God and ourselves through prayer. It's quite ironic, really, isn't it? Because we do live in a sort of hyper-connected world. You know, I mean, here I am, you know, on YouTube connecting with you wherever you are in the world right now. You know, I can connect with my family through Zoom and WhatsApp and various other means, even though I'm on the other side of the world from them right now. You know, we live in a very kind of hyper-connected reality, and yet for some reason human beings are more fragmented than ever before internally in our souls. And it's only when we're connected with ourselves, it's only when we're connected with God that we have a real sense of purpose in life, that we know the direction that we should be heading in. And also it's through connectedness, when we're connected with God, when we're connected with ourselves, that we can have a real sense of gratitude as well. And if you have followed any of my other conversations with you, you'll know just how important I think an attitude of gratitude is when it comes to effective Christian spirituality. Just that kind of time to pause and to say thank you to God, that time each day to pause and to celebrate, you know, what is good in our lives and in our world. So, you know, I think we all have a good intention to pray, to stay connected with ourselves and to stay connected with God. But the busier our lives get, very often prayer gets squeezed out. And then not only do we then miss prayer, but we also end up feeling guilty about it as well. And we think we're a really bad Christian because we've not remembered to pray for the last few days. So how can we make it easier to remember to pray and to actively pray the busier our lives get? Well, I just want to offer four short tips for you to think on today. And the first is, I would say, you know, remember what prayer is. That's really important. Remember what prayer is. When we're busy and we've got hectic schedules, we tend to have to-do lists, we have aims and objectives and goals and outcomes that we need to hit, and so on and so forth. And the busier we get, the more or the easier it is for us to begin to think about prayer in the same way. You know, that we put prayer on our to-do list. It's one more activity that we need to do. So we need to kind of schedule that in the same way that we might schedule in other meetings and other activities that we need to do. But what we need to do, I think, is to really remember that prayer is unlike any other activity. You know, it transcends all activity. Prayer takes us outside of time and space. Really, prayer takes us into intimacy. It invites us into a whole different dimension of being, where we sort of can escape the mundane of life and embrace and be embraced by this wonderful relationship with God our Father. So it's not just one more activity to put on the to-do list. And I think that kind of takes a bit of discipline on our part for us to retain it in that sort of space in our head. But, you know, I would encourage you to think differently about prayer than any other activity that you undertake. Please don't just pop it on your to-do list and sort of think, okay, well, I've got to have this breakfast meeting, I've got to have that lunch meeting, I've got to go here, I've got to go there, I've got to spend half an hour in prayer. You know, try to keep it separate from all the other activities. Remember what it is. It's about a relationship with God your Father, not just another activity to be ticked off the to-do list. That's the first thing I would say, how to keep praying in the hectic nature of life. Second thing to say is to find a regular time to pray. I say this an awful lot. Sometimes I feel like a broken record, but I think it's really important to build a regular time into your daily schedule to pray. Always pray in the morning. I don't care if you say you're a morning person or not. I'm not asking you to have your main devotional in the morning if that doesn't work for you. But always start the day off with God, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes and isn't your main devotional time. You've got to start the day with God because it sets the focus for the rest of the day. You know, if you start off with God in your head and in your heart and in your mind, then as you work through the day, you will have got into the groove of the day of seeing, looking for God everywhere, listening for God everywhere. So, you know, always start off the day with at least 10 minutes in prayer. Jesus did that. Mark chapter 1:35, for example, we're reminded that he went out before it was light and found solitude, went and found somewhere to pray. I don't know if Jesus was a morning person or not, but clearly, pragmatically, he realized the importance of starting the day with his Father God, so that he could then carry out the rest of his ministry through the day in his Father's presence. Yeah, so definitely start the day with at least 10 or 15 minutes with God. But if that isn't your preferred, you know, if you don't have your best energy levels early in the morning, then schedule time at a different time that does work for you. If you want to spend half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour in prayer and Bible study, then you need to, you know, realize that you can do that at any time during the day. Just make sure that you schedule it in and you try to keep it regular, and you work the rest of your diary as much as you can around that. Part of the problem is, you know, we fill our diaries up with activity and then we think, okay, well, where can I now squeeze in prayer and Bible study? What we should do really is program in our prayer and Bible study times and then build our diaries around that, so that becomes an immovable time. How will you decide when to do your prayer and your Bible study? I would say think about your energy levels. Are you most energetic like me at 5 in the morning? So that's a sensible time to do it. Or are you most energetic at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 7 o'clock at night? You know, when is your energy level highest? Schedule your prayer time in for that. And also think about the period of time in the day when you will have least distractions. Again, for me, early morning works because I'm not getting emails at that time. I'm not getting phone calls. Yeah, it's pretty good for me not to have any distractions then. So think about when is your energy highest and when will you get least distractions. Consistency and regularity is really important for growth. I mean, it is in any area of our lives, isn't it? If you were training as an athlete to you know, run a marathon or training for the Olympics or whatever, you just need to train every single day and be consistent and be regular. It's the same with our prayer life, with our spiritual disciplines, with our relationship with God. You just got to be consistent. You know, it doesn't need to be for a long time every day, but it just needs to be consistently every day. So there we are. So yeah, find a regular time to pray, and that will help you keep praying during busy times. Thirdly, I would say find a regular place to pray. Again, I've talked about this quite a lot in other conversations with you, but you know, places hold memories. I'm convinced of that. You know, the church where I grew up as a Christian, when I was converted as a teenager, I've been back there about twice in the last, I don't know, 30 years, because I don't live there anymore. But every time I walk in, I'm immediately transported back to the age of 18 when I first became a Christian. You know, the walls hold memories for me, and it feels a very, very safe spiritual environment for me. And places are also often places of comfort as well. You know, we've got a cottage down on Exmoor in Somerset in the west of England, southwest of England, and as soon as I go there and I take a walk up the path onto Exmoor, I immediately feel comfortable, and I immediately feel connected to God there. So there's a regularity about place which is really important to us. And if you're leading a busy life and you've got, say, half an hour to sit down and pray, well, the last thing you need is to spend the first 20 minutes feeling comfortable or getting comfortable. If you can have a place that you pray regularly, then as soon as you sit down there, or as soon as you get into that environment, it will be so much easier for you just to get into the flow with God. So as well as having a regular time to pray, I would say have a regular place to pray as well. It could be absolutely anywhere. You know, it could be on the train going to work. It could be when you're walking down the street to the tube station. It could be in your car. It could be in the shower. It could be in your favourite seat at home. Wherever it is, it really doesn't matter. Just find, if you can, the same place to pray every day, and that will make prayer so much easier. And then fourthly and finally, if you're living a hectic life and struggling to pray consistently, I would say build variety into your prayer. Now, for some people, that's not a good thing, because for some people, consistently doing things the same way every single day is good, and that's fine if that's you. But for me, I get very bored very quickly. I get bored with routine quite quickly, and so if I just pray the same way every single day, then I get bored and I stop doing it. So for me, variety is really, really important in prayer. So for example, you know, some days you could say short, simple prayers, you know, a bit like the tax collector in Luke chapter 18 verse 13, who just prayed, "Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner." A very, very short prayer. You could use set liturgies. I use morning and evening prayer every single day. You could maybe pray for a different country every day. You could work through the alphabet, starting with Albania and then Bolivia and then Croatia and then Denmark. You see, you could do that and pray for a different country every day. You could go to your cupboard. I like doing this. Go to your food cupboard and take out a food stuff and see where it was made or see what is in it, and then that might inspire you to pray as well. You know, again, just something a bit creative. If you go there and you find a tin of tuna fish, then it might remind you to pray for those in the fishing industry in the country where you are. Do you see what I mean? Something like that. You could read the newspaper or the headlines on your app and pray into news and politics that are going on. You could just sit in silence with God and say nothing at all. You could pray using an icon. You could paint a picture. You could write a poem to God. Whatever it is, do something, if it's helpful, to bring variety into prayer, so you're not just kind of getting bored and saying and doing the same thing every single day. So, you know, regularity is really important. And it's then when we get really busy in life and everything gets really hectic, When we've built schedule and regularity into our prayer life, that's when we are able to continue to pray through the busyness. It's not just another task for us to fulfill, but it's a moment of reconnection. It's when we restore our relationship with God. It's when we move into gratitude. We need that. We need that every single day of our life, but especially when we're busy, especially when there's the threat of us becoming disconnected from ourselves and disconnected from God. So it feels counterintuitive to make time for prayer when you are busy and time is scarce, but actually you're not losing time by scheduling in prayer. You're building depth and quality into your life by taking half an hour out during a busy schedule. You're building depth and quality, so you're building quality of time rather than trying to grab back quantity of time. Does that make sense? So there we are. I hope those tips have been helpful, and next time you are in a really, really busy period of your life, or maybe you are now, hopefully you can implement those, and it will draw you back closer to God again. So there we are. Thank you for being with me today. It's ever so hot here today in Australia. Tomorrow I'm off to New Zealand, so hopefully next time I see you, I shall be somewhere on South Island, New Zealand. So thanks for being with me today, and I always appreciate you giving me the time, as always. Hope it was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye.